today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 3 of Shop Talk. Today we're covering Sunday's episode 311. I'm one of your hosts. My name's Jennifer, and I'm joined by Kari.
Hi, guys.
Sunday night's episode was intense and filled with so much character development.
Yeah, we got to meet the 2 newest boots. We got to see Henry, Abigail, and Tamara again. And of course, Officer Zaddy became canon, and obviously there was a lot more. But yeah, if you want to dive into news real quick.
Yeah, so Deadline had shared the news that Jason Canella will star in a recurring role playing Caesar Madrigal, the son of a criminal royalty who is impetuous, entitled, and in line to take over his father's empire. His first appearance will be in an upcoming episode titled Braveheart, which we don't know yet what the name of the next episode is, but I don't know, it could be that. We have the promo for May 2nd. We'll discuss that later because that was interesting, and we were left on a cliffhanger. Last night I noticed there was a post on Tumblr with an Instagram story from Jenna Dewan in a set pod. So we'll have to reshare that tweet. But that's interesting. I wonder what episode they're filming now because they've got to be coming up on the end of the season.
I think so, yeah. And she was on Lifetime's Witches of East End with Eric Winter way back when. So if there's any of y'all like that show too, then maybe they'll get their characters will have some scenes together, which could be fun. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And then on Wednesday, TMZ reported that there were shots fired on the rookie set or around the rookie set, but everyone's okay. So it was just some gang something. I'm not totally sure. If you see anything else floating around on the internet, though, please send it our way. So I think we should dive right into the episode. So first we'll start off with Jackson and Lucy, and Tamara had some storyline in there in the first place, but we see them kind of getting coffee together, and they're talking about Tamara's 18th birthday and her first apartment. So then we hear a little bit about Jackson and Lucy's first apartments, and Lucy says, in my first place I eventually stopped fighting with cockroaches and I just treated them as pets. She's just adorable, and the way that she executed that line, Melissa did, it was perfect. But we find out that Lucy has helped Tamara with the transitional housing paperwork, so Tamara kind of owes her getting her own place to Lucy. We see Tamara also noticed Bradford and Barnes, his new rookie, who we'll also get into later, and says, "Who's that girl with Officer Zaddy?" We saw it in the sneak peek, and that was all that everyone could talk about. So it was just funny to watch it on screen.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also saw Tamara kind of goes on and says, how does it feel to be replaced? Lucy obviously puts on a front in front of Jackson and Tamara, saying, great, I'm happy someone else can be tormented by Tim for a change. Lucy, we know that you're upset. Just admit that you love Tim Bradford so that we can just appreciate Chenford. And I mean, Lucy's face says it all when she realizes that he's letting her drive. So I'm all here for jealous Lucy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I am. It was, I don't know, it was great because I kind of thought, for whatever reason, we'd be getting a jealous Tim at some point, instead of jealous Lucy. So
Yeah.
I'm here for it. The unexpectedness of that is fun to see. So
yeah. And then Lucy kind of does an impression of Tim saying, I've been shot. Where are we, Boot? I loved it. It was everything that I needed. And it was the most precious thing ever. I just need more Tim impressions from Lucy. But Jackson kind of calls Lucy out for wanting someone else to get tormented by Tim. Although for the last year, she complained about it. And he says, that's kind of messed up. All Tamara and Jackson do is just sip their coffee because they know that, she's she needed to be called out a little bit like that. And her face is kind of perplexed after that because, again, he's not wrong. So cut to a few scenes later, we see Jackson and Lucy roll up to the first shootout of the episode. There was two shootouts, and they were pretty intense during this episode.
Yeah.
But we see Bradford and Barnes are involved, and so Lucy and Jackson kind of roll up and help. Lucy notices after everything's been done, that Tim's kind of being caring and compassionate to his boot by putting a hand on her shoulder. And she tells Jackson, I saved his life on the first day, and I didn't even get a fist bump. I'll give you a fist bump, Lucy. Like,
Yeah, oh my gosh. I love that line though. It was so like in her face and just the delivery.
Mhm.
Oh, love that line.
Yeah. Her facial expressions really spoke to how Lucy feels about Tim. If not in the relationship sense yet, definitely in like a friendship sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So then we have Tim and Katie next.
Yeah. So obviously Katie Barnes is one of the new rookies that we got to meet at the beginning of the episode. And there's a bit of, if you guys have watched the pilot episode, then you know the training sequence that we talked about in our first podcast episode, with they check the cars, and how to load and unload a weapon. And so that dialogue was kind of deja vu for us fans, which was kind of cool. Um, but then something different that happened is Tim is trying to figure out why Katie knew so much about how to use that particular type of weapon. He kind of goes down a mini list of, is she a big game hunter? No. Family and law enforcement? No. Which only leaves she's ex-military, which that is the correct answer. So Tim tells her that she doesn't actually have to call him sir, and then next asks her if she wants to go get coffee, which he then pays for in the next scene that we see them in, which Jennifer just mentioned was when Lucy, Jackson, and Tamara were all sitting down, and so that's what we're all kind of caught up now, and that's what they saw was Tim paying for Katie's coffee. And interestingly enough, like after they grab their coffee, they're driving again. Katie mentions that Tim. She doesn't mention that Lucy told her that Tim's kind of known for being like intense, but she says that he's kind of known for being a hard ass, and but he doesn't really respond to that, but he goes in to just kind of tell her about how um being in the military and being on the police force now are like two different things, even though she might not think it is at first. And he's actually giving her advice, guys, instead of just barking orders at her, which is
His
so
voice was like
refreshing.
really soft too, talking
Yeah.
to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like he
Yeah.
didn't have a stern, like, I'm, watching out for you, like your boss kind of voice. So
Yeah, it was like two people, like, I mean, I don't want to say like two old friends catching up because obviously they didn't know each other, but I mean, like it just
yeah,
because they both,
it gave off that feel.
yeah, because they both come from those military backgrounds, and which goes into my next point is when they roll up to their first call, um, it turns into a shootout. And Katie, as she's kind of talking, trying to figure out what the best like way to go about the situation is, she's calling the suspects their enemies in her eyes. Civilians are combatants.
Mhm.
Her first instinct is to like dutifully follow orders and always assume that there's like a threat around, or like to be on high alert. And so those are things that are obviously like Tim wants to help her change as she's going along in this training period.
Yeah.
And if you guys if you follow Eric on Instagram, then you guys would know that this first shootout scene here comes from his behind the scenes video that he posted back in March. So that's kind of cool, how things like work their way into the show. So what I thought was cool, she did a little ricochet trick to take the first suspect down. Ends up getting him in the foot or the leg. I'm not really sure, but anyway, he goes down. Tim, goes to cuff the guy, like help her get the suspect all together. Katie is kind of, questioning him, like still wondering if he knows something or if there's more information to get, because that's kind of what she learned, in the uh, in Afghanistan, is that always like there's always something more to people. Um, but that's not the case here. Tim, obviously knows this and instructs her to render first aid instead. She does that, and then, as Jennifer mentioned earlier, there's a little, like just a nice, it's just a friendly, like shoulder pat, whatever,
Yeah.
but like from Lucy's perspective, it's I wonder, what's going on there. Like,
Yeah.
what is this?
I wonder why he's treating her differently than he treated
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah, because no, exactly. That's all I got. The next thing we see them in the park, um, or was it a playground? I don't know, because there were behind the scenes pictures that Katie
I want to
O'Brien,
say
who
it was
plays
like the
Katie
park.
Barnes, yeah,
I want to say it was the park, and then obviously
posted.
playground around
Yeah.
there.
Anyhow, but yeah, so the next time we see them, they're in a park. They kind of stop at like a clearing or like an outlook. And Tim asks her to look around and tell him what she sees. She's kind of wondering, is this like some kind of, Tim test?
Mhm.
It's not really. He has her, like, he picks up a ladybug, or a leaf with a ladybug on it, tells her to
Yeah.
focus on the spots, and then tells her to close her eyes and feel the sun on her face. So it's very like a relaxing technique, and it's very it's like grounding, um for Katie, and it's very, I think the rookie account said it was like, who are you and what have you done with
Yeah.
Tim Bradford? So but it was nice that that scene was in there, because I liked how he was like, he was just talking, and it was just
Mm.
very I think someone had said on Twitter that like Eric should record like a calm app
Yeah. Like
story or
audiobook
something.
or whatever.
Yeah, because his voice was like just very like soothing and just like nice. Like that's the best way.
I mean, I would buy that audiobook. So
Yes, as would
or whatever it would be.
I. And the probably like one of my favorite little lines though was they're commenting on the ladybug, and Katie was like, "It's cute, sir," and Tim's like, "No, it's adorable." No, Tim, you're the one that's adorable there, sir. I Oh my gosh, I just can't, like, it's a ladybug,
We
guys.
go from Officer Zaddy to You're Adorable. Like,
It's so good. It's so good.
I just
Um,
love it. I love
yeah,
it.
no, we love seeing this, like,
Soft side of Tim.
yeah, it's so great.
And we say
And
it all the time.
yes, yeah, and that kind of, they're back in their shop again. Katie's kind of just talking aloud and is like, 1 minute you're talking about ladybugs and teaching me how to be all zen,
Yeah.
whereas other people know him as this tough, test giving,
Hard
ordered,
ass. Yeah.
yeah, like person. And he's like, well, what can I say? I'm a complicated guy. Like, understatement of the freaking year. Oh my goodness.
Yep.
But yeah, Tim being full of surprises, we love to see it. Um, and that like reminded me of Lucy's season 1 quote of like, sir, you surprise me every day. Like, it's just, no, I just love little things like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's, I'm all here for it. Um, and then the second time we see them like out on the field is when they're caught up in the second shootout, which Jennifer will touch on later with John Nolan.
Yeah.
But
It's mainly Nolan's call.
yeah, they're called in for backup. The interesting thing there is when they're running, you're seeing Katie, like Tim's running. I mean, obviously both the actors are running normally. It's a film technique to make it slow mo. But for Katie's from her perspective, it's like there's like the, the echoes or like almost
Hmm.
deafening sounds, like she's kind of in the midst of like tunnel vision or like in a fog. And so it kind of makes people like us as viewers wonder like what's going to happen.
Hmm.
Can, she really like do this? Is she going to get hurt? Is this too much? Like what is going to happen? They do
Yeah,
successfully.
it was interesting that it was like from her point of view too.
Hmm.
Like we've seen that a few other times in other shows. I won't name them, but if you've seen them, we've seen them kind of like have it show what the character is thinking, and I think
Hmm.
that's really interesting too.
Yeah. Well, and like we even saw it like in the beginning of season one with like Jackson, like we saw it from like his point of view. Um, yeah, and so okay, so they take down the suspect. They successfully, like um make that happen. Tim made the lovely clothesline there. Gotta love that. And we kind of see like so everything seems to be going well. Like there's no like indication that anything else is going to happen. Like they're going back to the district to do their paperwork. Like that's supposedly the end for them. But um the end kind of scene with Tim and Katie is that she comes up to him, well, she's learned a lot. She wants to, put the violence behind her, and she can't do that while she's in uniform. So, along with her, turning in her report from the day's incident, she's also turning in her resignation. Poor Tim is kind of heartbroken. He literally says like I won't accept it or I won't accept
Mhm.
this.
Yeah.
Um, she think or he thinks that she can, do this, like go through this training process, but he does understand why she needs to take a step back, and he tells her that it was either like her output paperwork or something like that. Like her paperwork, is good for 3 years. So if she ever did want to come back,
Yeah.
she would always have a home there at Mid Wilshire. So again, we love soft Tim Bradford. So
Yes.
all here for it.
I wonder what Lucy's reaction is going to be to Tim losing that rookie, because she didn't
Yeah.
even make it past plain clothes day.
No, she didn't.
So
Oh,
I
so she
wonder,
is
like,
she the 12th rookie now though to watch out before plain clothes day?
I
Oh,
guess so. But
oh
I
my
mean, like, who's gonna give him crap over it? Is it gonna be Angela? Like, maybe Tim tells her like off to the side or
god.
something, or Nyla,
Oh yeah. Yeah, I could see it.
or Lucy? I don't know, but I'm here for that
Yeah.
storyline. I just thought of that. Like, what's gonna happen with that? So,
Yeah. Do you want me to go into the Chenford stuff now
I mean,
or
yeah, because
okay?
it's just why not?
Yeah, so like backtracking a little bit in terms of like the episode, we see uh Tim's doing Katie's paperwork for her, as well, and Lucy's, she walks up um and is just kind of asking like why the heck, like what is going on?
Hmm.
Why was he being, so nice to his new rookie? Tim's little smile as Lucy's like recounting all the things that he did to her during her first days as a rookie. Oh my gosh, like, oh, I just loved that. Like, Eric Winter, you are the king of micro expressions. I couldn't actually tell if there was any kind of acknowledgement on his face when she was like mentioning like, what is, Katie's other issue, is she like fit, beautiful, smart, like what is it? I couldn't tell if there's any
Yeah,
like
I couldn't
acknowledgement
either.
there, but I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if there was. Um, and what I really liked about this scene, though, I mean, aside from the like Chenford of
Hmm.
it all,
Yeah,
was his like reasoning behind why he was the way he was.
same.
Because he had said, like I teach my recruits according to what they need. Um, and Officer Barnes is still like in that war mindset, and so she, in order for her to be a cop, that kind of mindset has to go. And Tim's like aware of this and tells Lucy that, Officer Barnes only sees a scary place and she needs to know that not everyone's out to hurt her. Um, and so I like that we not only know that Tim trains like individualized, or trains his rookies based on what they need, but then there's also kind of a reason as to why he was tougher with Lucy in like season 1, let's say, as opposed to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Lucy's kind and insightful and she sees the good in people and all that. And Tim acknowledging that is really like, it's nice to see.
It's a beautiful thing.
It
I
really
stand
is.
Chenford, and
It's
I'm
so
just here
good.
for all of the little crumbs.
It's so good. Well, and then I saw something else on Tumblr that was talking about how if Tim knows that Katie doesn't wear perfume, does he know that Lucy does wear perfume? Like, hypothetically speaking.
I never thought of that. I never thought of
So
that.
I don't know, because I don't know. What do you guys think? If you guys have any like thoughts, like tweet us or something
Yeah.
on that. Because I'm kind of curious.
We just look for like every little thing and then just overanalyze it. So
Yeah, we're really
yeah.
good at that. But in all seriousness, though, like, bravo to the writers for writing these amazing little like mini monologues for characters like Tim, because it's a great way of portraying the complexities of an officer who not only holds the position to like train another recruit, but utilizes their personal experience to help the new recruit with their own issues. And so, like we said, we got to see, a softer side of Tim. And, while we love seeing that with Lucy, it was also refreshing to see Tim kind of not like mellowed out, but I mean, just softer. I don't know if there's a
Yeah.
better word for it, really, because
We got to see him be like that with someone else too.
yeah,
So that was cool.
yeah. So I hope I'm articulating it well enough, but I have just such immense respect for the writers and for Eric for like bringing these intricacies
Yeah.
of potential like PTSD that's on the job, like bringing that to life in a way that's
Yeah.
it's relatable, it's educational, it's heartfelt, like wonderful work all around. And it kind of, I don't know, it almost reminded me of the season 2 episode when we met one of Tim's like friends from the war, or like
Yeah.
that were under his command. And I don't know, like I just kind of I don't know if we're ever gonna get a scene like that, but just like where he and Lucy can talk more about it, because obviously like PTSD is a mental illness or like condition.
Oh my
That,
god, he would not want her to psychoanalyze him though.
I know, but just the little things,
Oh
like
yeah. Oh,
just like
she would find a way to work it in.
yeah, well, like
Yeah.
because like the quote from, I think it was season 2 episode 14, I think, was like, that's the, I think Lucy said, that's the most Tim Bradford thing I've ever heard. You showed
Yeah.
humanity. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, just something like that. Like, I'm not saying she
Yeah.
needs to like go full on, but just, like it's, I don't know. I like that the the rookies and the TOs kind of seem to have things in common, or like ways to
Yeah.
relate to each other. And so like that's kind of one of the things that I
Yeah.
like that they've managed to blend together.
Yeah.
So
So now we have John and Nyla. And this episode was, I was telling Kari before we started recording, like, I feel like this was a good character development episode for Nolan. Like,
for
I
sure.
found myself liking him a little bit more. Not that I didn't like Nolan before, but I just wasn't like a huge fan of him. But this episode, I think, kind of changed that. So in the beginning, we see John and Nyla kind of working together a lot, but then towards like the second half of the episode, it's mostly just him. And their main storyline is with Professor Fiona Ryan, who we see is kind of like in danger from her like speaking up, her activism, everything like that. And we kind of see how that all plays out. But we also see Henry come back. Henry and Abigail show up at the district before John and Nyla roll out for the day. And it kind of like sets us up for the next episode in 2 weeks. But we're able to kind of see like the father son dynamic again, and even like Henry interacting with Nyla again, which was really cool.
Yeah, that was nice to see.
One of my favorite lines to hear like after their interaction in the front of the district was, "It's killing me to be so supportive." And John and Henry both said that like at different times, obviously, once they got apart from each other. But it was just hilarious to see because John's like waving to him and trying to like put on a smile, and Henry's like, I just, is it obvious that I do not support this? So then we see Professor Ryan come in and talk to Gray. And she's been having notes left on her car. It doesn't matter like where she is, they're appearing if she's parked outside of her house, outside of school, yoga, anything like that. She says they're creepy but not threatening, which is smart because without credible threats there's no crime. So they just want the message to be sent that she's being watched. So she sees Gray that morning because her car window was smashed and there was a note inside saying, "See you soon." That's it. Um, she says she's one of the faces behind a loud criminal justice reform movement. So she's all over the media, news, social media, anything like that. And a lot of people don't like what she has to say. So that's setting it up to basically say, well, there's going to be some chaos that goes down in this episode. And at this point, no one knows any personal facts about her, which is important to note now. But Gray says, I'll have Nolan and Harper patrol the areas that you'll be in today, because he asks for her schedule. So then we cut to her first stop of the day, which is her yoga studio. And John and Nyla are down the street, just kind of like surveillancing it. John says it's a covert undercover operation. And James from the community center walks up and he mentions that he's looking for a new self-defense class instructor. He's in the area, so like it makes sense of why he's there. But John like puts Nyla up for it, and her face when she was just looking at him like, you're serious? You're seriously putting me up for this right now? But we see them talking some more, and then Professor Ryan walks out, and that kind of halts the conversation. But they also see a guy taking pictures for her, so they sneak up on him and want to get his camera. And Professor Ryan comes over. She says she knows the guy from one of her old classes. He turns out he didn't break into her car, and Nyla wants the camera, but James and from the community center and then Professor Ryan stop her because it's an unreasonable search. And Nyla sasses back and says it's evidence that can easily be deleted, so they have the right to examine it. But she ends up giving in and getting the warrants, and then they also want to detain him just so that they have him in custody. It turns out Professor Ryan's stalker was an admirer who wanted to make her fall in love with him. He's a creep, but there's no evidence that proves he's committed any crimes. So that's a little interesting. But they still keep him in mind for like any possible, harm or like actions that he's taken later on in the episode. So we find out that no one respects Professor Ryan more for keeping them from doing the search without the warrant. He respects her for sticking with her civil liberty activism, like activism actions and all of that. And we like later on in the episode, we find out that John waited for Professor Ryan after class. And that's when she received a phone call that was then flooded with notifications about her license plate, phone number, and address being posted on the internet. And then there's a message saying, "Come teach this bitch a lesson." So right there, I already have trust issues. I just have trust issues with fictional shows in general, but we'll keep going. And so John and Professor Ryan walk out to her car together. He says the assaults unit is going to track down the original post. And I don't know about you, but the entire time they were walking out to that parking garage and they were in there, I was nervous something was going to happen.
Same. 'Cause
Again,
usually that's like, a dimly lit
yeah,
place. There's for like filming purposes, obviously there's
yeah,
not a bunch of other conversation going on, so you can actually hear the actors, but like for TV purposes, it looks like there's no one else around.
yeah.
So it's like setting the stage for something that you know could have happened. So
And I mean, like I said
get it.
before, I have trust issues when it comes to fictional shows. So I just automatically assume something bad is going to happen, even if it is something as simple as walking out to the parking garage. Um, so then John offers to follow her home and make sure she's safe. She doesn't want to come across as afraid, but and she's kind of putting up a guard. Like, I don't need protection. I don't need this. I can handle it myself. John doesn't believe her though, which is good, because when that scene was happening, I mean, I was yelling at my TV saying, no, you want him to come with you because you don't know what could happen.
Exactly.
And so, we see John like follow her back to her apartment. We didn't actually see him like following her, but I would assume that he stayed like cars behind.
Yeah, I would assume
Because she,
so.
yeah. And then we see him trying to call Henry again while he's on the stakeout, and no luck with that. So he's just kind of, like, I'll be up late, call me back when you get a chance. We see the professor like look out her window. I don't think she saw him at that point,
I don't think
because
so.
like later on she's kind of surprised why he's there. But we
Mhm.
see him like reach for a gun as a car drives by, which again, I got an eerie feeling because the woman that drove by looked at him like dead in the eyes, and I was like,
Yeah.
she's gonna come back into play. Like she
Mhm.
has to, right?
Yeah.
I
Good
just
good TV writing though, guys.
Yes,
Good devices there.
I just have so many trust issues, and not even with the rookie, just TV in general. I maybe watch too many crime shows.
You're
So
killing me. Same here
um
though.
so then we also see Nolan kind of, he checks his phone and there's another video put on social media by the professor,
Oh
basically
yeah, she does
saying
an
that,
IG live. I forgot
yeah,
about that. Oh my goodness.
basically saying that anyone can come after her. So cut to John going up to the professor's door. She's surprised that he's there, but he brings up the comments on her video and says she says if she succumbs to their threats, they win. I'm also thinking, yeah, but you are in danger. So if you don't succumb, like, if you give in, they are gonna win, and you're not gonna be, alive anymore.
Yeah, I
So
was just gonna say, like, you're not gonna be alive at the end of it. So
yeah.
yeah.
So then, like a few scenes pass, we see Professor Ryan kind of take coffee out to Nolan, and she's sitting in the truck with him. She apologized about snapping at him, and she says it does make her feel better that he's there. She tells him he can call her Fiona. They're kind of past the whole like professor student, you know,
Yeah.
um, like relationship at this point. They're more so friends. He talks about Henry, and she kind of sticks up for Henry, saying, college will always be there, and maybe a job is what he needs right now. So we see that play out, and then the next morning, Nolan is following her to school. So we see, he's in her house as she's getting ready for the day, and we learn more about Fiona Ryan and why she's an activist. He notices like a piece of artwork, a piece of like a sculpture on her mantle, and they gather around it, saying, it was damaged during the move bombing in 1985. The cops were there trying to get a group of Black activists out of their house, and when they couldn't, they fired ammunition and then dropped a bomb on the roof and killed 11 people, including 5 kids. There was a huge fire, and her grandmother's house burned. Fiona was 10 when that happened, and her grandmother ran, but they couldn't get away. And so that's exactly why she's become an activist, because she wants to, kind of put her voice out there and, put a stop to white supremacy and all of that. So I thought that was a really good character development moment for her too. And we got to see, John kind of be caring and compassionate in that sense. And, even though it was just listening.
Yeah.
So
Well, like reminded me like that scene. It reminded me of like his scenes with Captain Anderson, like when they would have scenes together, like that kind of like, um, you know, mentor mentee relationship that like
yeah.
evolved into kind of more of a friendship or like a that kind of lighter relationship. And so I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel like he has a way of like, well, I mean, obviously we know this. He has a way of connecting with people, but he's also like a really good listener
Yeah.
when it comes to people sharing their stories. So
Yeah. So then we cut to the second shootout of the episode. And this one was way more intense than the first one. But it starts with Nolan following Fiona again to school. He notices that like trucks are coming up behind him and cutting like in front of him to get to her. And he notices that they have the Southern Front white supremacy group decals on them. And so he calls her on speaker and tells her to stay calm and act normal. Then he puts out a call on the radio and so everyone can hear. They kind of figure out their positions. John says he has an idea and runs into the guy's truck. I thought this was interesting. He like got the guy out, but then had the guy like cuff himself to the truck. Like, okay.
oh, is that what he did? I didn't really
Yeah.
realize that. Oh, I thought he
But
just.
he was also like, holding the gun to the guy's head.
No,
So,
that's true. Yeah.
but he then goes around to the driver's side of the truck, takes out the gun
Mm-hmm.
that's on the seat, and then like keeps an eye on the truck in front of him.
Yeah. Very
And
quick thinking on
yeah,
his part. Yeah.
yeah. And somehow, like, the guy in the front, in the truck in front, like, you know, shoots at him, but
Mm-hmm.
Nolan doesn't get shot. So it's a miracle how like the professor didn't get shot and like how no one got injured
Yeah, I was just gonna say how
except
no one got
for
shot is
the criminals. But
yeah, but
so then the shootout gets intense really quickly and everyone gets involved. So we see Lucy and Jackson roll up, and then Bradford and Barnes kind of take a different different position.
mhm.
So the white supremacists go to grab Fiona, but she's not in the car. He's chasing her down the street and into an alley where Tim comes to save the day with the clothesline.
Yeah. I just like I appreciated that moment, but then I also appreciated how the professor managed to somehow get from like her driver's side to like underneath the car
Yeah,
on the passenger side, like the complete opposite side.
yeah,
She's on the ground, and then she ran. Oh my goodness, she took off running in those
in like heels.
heels, yeah, or boots or something like something with a heel though. Oh my goodness, she was just running. Good for her.
Yep.
Like I was impressed by that whole scene.
So then we kind of find out at the end of the episode that computer crimes still doesn't know if Andy was the culprit of everything, but Nolan gives her some advice saying she probably won't sleep well for a while. She's going to be jumpy, irritable, and on edge, and it's mostly his experience talking. I drew that back to that bank robbery that we had seen in the first
Yeah.
episode.
Well, see, and then here's where I go again, like relating this. I don't know why I'm relating everything back to Captain Anderson today, but like just like that trauma though of like
Yeah,
him being involved in
and the
her.
Armstrong stuff.
Oh yeah, and the Armstrong. Yeah. So see, I just no, poor Nolan. My goodness, he's had
Yes.
a lot of stuff happen in his rookie year and now his extension
Yeah.
of said rookie year. Goodness.
So then after the second day on shift, we see John, Henry, and Abigail having dinner together. And then we get the cliffhanger for next week.
Yeah.
I do want to add that I love seeing that, like, it's an obvious, like, first shift, like, first day of the week and then, like, second day of the week, like, shifts. With
Yeah.
other shows, we don't get that clear break. We just kind of see
Yeah.
them, like, change outfits or something.
Mhm.
So it was cool to kind of see, that, okay, this was shift number one, say on a Monday, and then shift number two on a Tuesday or something like that. So
Yeah.
it was cool to see that.
Yeah.
So now we have our favorite canon couple, Lopez.
Yes, Angela and Wesley. We were so excited for any Lopez scenes, no matter how small they were. Hi, Sean Ashmore. We missed you as Wesley. Welcome back. I was excited for him to be back on this episode. I, well, like, what was it? Patrice is his mom. She had already decided on a venue for their wedding. Wesley and Angela both didn't like it. Um, my favorite part was they, instead of them telling Patrice, like, hey, we're not going to do this, they're like, who's going to tell her? Both of them just kind of pause, look at each other. Tim.
Yep. They just like
Tim,
instantly agreed on it. I love it.
yeah. Tim, man of honor, Bradford is the one that's going to do it. And I don't know. It was just no. It was cool having like Wesley's mom back though for an episode and like having like because Tim and her had never interacted before.
Yeah.
At least not that we, at least not on screen anyway. Until then, and so it was kind of it was interesting to see their exchange at the front door
Mhm.
um, because she was like, "Oh, am I at the right house?" And he was like, "Yes, Angela and Wesley are just just through there." And she recognizes him. "Oh, you're one of Angela's police friends." And she walks in Tim's as he's going to shut the door. For now, implying that he might not be one of Angela's friends
He
when
might
this
not get the job done.
yeah
That's
when
for
this
sure.
evening is over. That might differ. Um, And then poor Tim, the first thing on Angela's list is whether or not to have their like ceremony or their wedding at an Episcopalian or a Catholic church. Oh, good, we're starting small. That's what Tim says to that.
That
Oh
was
my god.
probably one of my favorite lines from like this entire episode. Like it doesn't even, I mean, it doesn't
Yeah,
compare to the Chenford or, his new rookie stuff, but I don't know, it just his like sarcasm there was like, I like this line.
yeah, it was.
And then
Yeah.
his face is like, this is perfect.
Oh yeah, his
More of
faces
it.
were like meme worthy. It
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're already on Twitter with that.
Oh, I'm sure. And Tumblr.
Yeah, and Tumblr for sure. Um, Another line that I really liked was the well, obviously Tim's going back and forth. We didn't mention this before. He's kind of the referee or like the go between
Yeah.
or mediator. That's the word that you have here that I needed.
No one does it quite like Tim with that.
No,
That's
oh
for
my
sure.
goodness, no. Um, And so he goes back to Patrice. They're going down this list, and he told them she'll go to 100 guests if you have cousin Jenny be a part of the wedding. And Angela turns to Wesley. She's like, the one with the teeth. And Wesley doesn't say anything. He just is like blank face. And just I don't know why that line made me laugh so much, but it did.
Yeah.
I am so here for um pregnant Angela making all the even sassier comments than normal.
Same.
So it was just great. And then Wesley acknowledges that Tim's feeling a little, like at the end of his rope with
Yeah.
all of this and asks him if he wants to help get Angela water. Apparently, it takes two men to get one woman a glass of water. I don't know. It's a mood though, guys. Like I was so
I
I
would
was
have
so here
thought
for it.
I would have thought they would have like offered Patrice some.
Yeah. Well, because when Wesley was pouring Patrice wine, I think it was,
Yeah.
and he was filling the whole entire glass up. I swear to God, I thought he was gonna go like all the way to the very top, and I was like, why aren't you guys offering Tim some of that? Lord knows he's gonna need it when he's done with
Right?
this.
Like
Like, what is this? Um,
yeah.
yeah. Sorry, that just reminded me of their Instagram or not Instagram, their HomeCon chat that the cast did,
Oh
and
yeah.
that was like Eric's wine display was in the background. That's just what that reminded me of. Oh my gosh. But anyway, sorry, we digress a little bit there.
We
I
haven't
believe
digressed much tonight,
I
which
know
is
it was good
good.
for us, guys. We're doing
Yeah,
good.
I'm proud.
Yeah. But like we actually got to see Patrice and Angela talk, like interact more. And it made me like her character more, Patrice, because
Yeah.
she was actually like saying, I just want you guys to have, like the wedding that you want. Like what, like let's talk about this. Like she, kind of came uh, crossed their figurative lines that they
Mhm.
had drawn in their house for that night, and was just like, just talk to me. Like I just want to, hash this out. And what I liked was that she explained to Angela that she was proud of her for becoming a detective, and like, how she is with Wesley and just like everything. Like she's so like impressed with what Angela's done, and so like she just wants them to work as like a family unit. Made me feel bad for Miss Lucy Chen on last week's episode, though. My goodness.
Yeah.
Why can't Lucy have supportive parents like that? I'm
I
kind of
don't
sad
know, but
about
it
it,
needs
guys.
to happen.
Yeah, but I mean, like good for Angela because she's like a badass being, a woman, Latina, pregnant detective. Like,
Yeah.
can we please appreciate that? Thank you. That is all I have. It's so good.
So then we have a overall note section. This was just kind of our catch-all because these characters had storylines, but they weren't like huge, like long drawn out storylines. So we met Larry, who's the second older recruit, in the beginning of the episode. And he was
Was
kind
his
of
last wasn't his last name like Badger?
no, they
I
call
think.
him the Badger.
Oh, they call him the Badger.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that's what I was
Yeah.
laughing at, guys. I know you guys
All I
can't
caught
see our
was his first
faces,
name.
but yeah.
Yeah. But he was kind of fangirling over John. And I
That
don't
was
know,
cute.
it was
That
cute. It
was
was fun to
cute.
watch. But then like they were doing roll call and he accidentally set his gun off and everyone ducked down when the glass was shattered besides Harper and Bradford. And the look on their faces, I mean, it spoke volumes to how they feel, I think, sometimes with these rookies. They're just like, seriously, this is what we have to put up with.
I was
No.
laughing at Gray. Oh my gosh, and I'm still laughing at Gray like right now as we're talking. Because someone posted on Twitter like that, like screenshots just of the episode, and if you go, oh my gosh, his face is just like meme worthy. Like Richard, if you ever listen to this, you are my spirit animal, dude. Like I don't. However the heck you make these faces that are just so perfect, I don't understand.
Yeah.
God bless you. Like that is the talent you have, sir.
Nyla's face, though, is like what got me. I was just like, yeah, yeah.
Well, I was
But
also laughing about her conversation with Tim at the beginning of the episode,
yes,
where she was like, how like what did you have to was it like how much
like
did you
how
have to
much did you
pay
bribe
or
Gray?
yeah,
Yeah.
to not get Bizarro Nolan, is that the name that
Yeah.
yeah. Uh and Tim I feel like he said something similar like back in season 1 when he had like a switch up of partners or something of
Maybe.
like as a training officer I take on
Train
every
yeah, like
recruit or something like some logical answer, very authoritative and Tim Bradford like
yeah.
um and then he finally caved and was like two pairs of Lakers tickets or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. He kind of
That
said
was
it like
cool.
underneath his voice, like don't tell anyone. But yeah, I did this.
Yeah. It was yeah.
But I did have to know, I noticed this on my second rewatch that when the glass shattered, you see everyone duck, you see Barnes kind of like pull for her gun, and it's like out in her
Really?
hand. It's like out of the frame, kind of like her
Okay.
ducking. But when they like go back to see, Larry, I think he like looked back, you kind of see the gun in her hand. So
Mm,
like
I didn't notice that.
watching that on the second, seeing that on the second rewatch, I was like, that sets her up for kind of like having the mentality
Oh
and the
my
mindset
God.
of like, I'm still in the military, you
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Yeah,
I think I think a few other people might have reached for their gun too, but for her being a rookie, I mean, I don't know.
right.
I just found that interesting that that was the first thing that she reached for, you know, and she's in the safety of the police district. I mean, I guess not everywhere
Yeah.
is safe, especially, you know, I mean, a police district definitely or can't be
Their
sometimes,
poor
but
district has had some like damage to
yeah,
their building, guys. They've
yeah,
had what, earthquake, uh missile threat,
yeah,
uh and now a gun going off.
yep.
Like, come on now. Oh man.
So then, as a result of like accidentally setting his gun off, he was sent home on his first day. And John and Nyla pointed it out. I couldn't tell if it was like he was done with being a police officer
I
overall, or if it was just like
think
his
so.
first day and he was like just being sent home,
Well, because they said like washed out, which implies like done
like
completely with the
done.
program.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, I don't know though, because I thought we were gonna see both rookies stick around. Um,
yeah.
hmm, I don't know.
I don't know. To me, it was kind of like, why bring them on if they're just going to leave after the one episode? But I also feel that way about, you know, a few other shows that do that. But I mean, I
Yeah.
guess because the name is The Rookie, you know, I don't know. I
Mhm.
just found it to be like interesting, but
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was like, I don't know if it's like time constraint though, because they have shorter seasons.
yeah,
So I don't know if they maybe had plans to, kind of flesh out a storyline with like a new rookie. But then again, we're also here for Titus Macon posted on TikTok a video of he and Eric Winter. So obviously Tim and Jackson at some point are gonna be in a shop again. So we're here
yeah.
for it. We're here for
I'm so
all the
here for it. I want all of the partnerships. I would like to see Nyla and Jackson partner up together.
Yes, please.
Like,
So
I would
would
like
Titus and Makia. I'm pretty sure they've
yeah,
said that like numerous times.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then moving on, we kind of see Lucy and Tamara's relationship and bond. We kind of see it grow a little bit more. And I just think it's so sweet to see like that. Again, it's that mentor-mentee relationship, but it's not in the sense of work. It's something totally different.
Yeah.
So we see, you know, we saw them getting coffee, all of that. But then later on in the episode, we see that Lucy is just sitting at home reading, and Tamara calls. She needs Lucy to come and get her. And Lucy hears screaming and yelling in the back. She gets her off duty gun and badge out of her safe and, you know, just is like running out the door. I wonder where Jackson was in this scene.
Maybe he was out on another date with the what's his name? I don't know the actual character's name now. The horse cop. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah. Yeah. I'm choosing to believe that. So,
Please, Jackson, love life needs to be better for
yeah.
him. So please.
And just a small little side note for all the Chenford fans, she is wearing that ring that Tim gave her.
Are you trying to kill me? What the
I'm
heck?
sorry, you know what? Someone on Twitter pointed it out
I'm literally just
before I
reading this
noticed
now on
it.
our notes, guys. I didn't even know that she was gonna say this.
Someone
What
pointed it out on Twitter.
do you mind?
I just had to share it. But
Okay.
it's like so obvious in that scene. I was like, oh, Lucy, could you be any louder with that ring on your finger?
I'll be processing this over here, Jennifer. You can keep talking because I'm gonna need a minute. I can't.
So we find Lucy arrive and Tamara's uncle is yelling at her. You know, he like Lucy kind of, you know, gets her voice louder and you know, the uncle like throws Tamara's stuff out and says, you know, like, don't come back. So Lucy asks her what happened, and she says it could be another 2 months before she moves into her own place. They found termites or no mold.
Yeah.
So then, you know, Tamara just says like nonchalantly, you know, don't worry about it, I'll figure something out. And Lucy offers her a place to stay. I love this little like back and forth, Tamara says, you don't have to. Lucy is, yes, I do. Your family. I just love this, like, it's like a sisterly bond for
Yeah.
me. And I need
I
more of
like
it.
pseudo mother daughter,
Yeah.
relationship, which then of course will bring me. I just need to go on for 0.5 seconds, guys. Tim, Lucy, Tamara, Kojo, family unit. When's it gonna happen? When?
You might hate me for this,
I
but
probably will. What?
I don't want to say it. Is Chenford like the upset and Rojas of the Rookie?
Oh yeah, why would I hate you for that?
Because feelings.
Okay.
I
We're
mean,
fine, guys. We're fine.
Yeah, I'll text you more about that later because
Okay.
we'll definitely be going off about that. And drawing all of the parallels because giving her a place to stay is one of them. So
Do you mind?
no, I don't.
Do you mind?
So then we see Lucy kind of like walking, like them walking back to Lucy's car, and Lucy says, want to go to 7-Eleven and buy way too much candy and watch horror movies? Where was my invite?
I'm
Because
so here for
I would
that.
like to do that. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of horror movies, but
I
like
was just gonna say the same thing.
even just like hanging out, like
I
I'm cool
used to
with
be
that.
though. Like freshman year me in high school would be all for that. But 7-Eleven candy, yes, please.
Yeah.
Like right now.
So then that was kind of like the end of the whole like Lucy and Tamara stuff. I just hope that we get to see her more because
Yeah.
I just like that
Yeah.
relationship with that bond.
Mm-hmm. And they're like little, like when they walked away, like the little camera shot of just like their
Yeah.
the backs, like they're like the like same if not almost similar in height. It was just so cute, and I was
Yeah.
like, can I just like frame that?
I
So
just
cute.
love how like Tamara called to Lucy for help. She was like,
Yes.
I need someone, and she's the person that I can call.
Mm-hmm.
So then we get to Nyla, and who I've been referring to as community center guy named James. He was in 306. And this whole like interaction with James and Nyla, like I don't know, it warmed my heart because like we got to see Nyla kind of break out of her like hard exterior for a little bit.
Yeah, well, she was doing something else
Yeah.
besides, like just going around with Nolan all day.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't seen any of her daughter
In a while. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it was cool to see her like in a different environment. So I
Yeah.
totally get why you liked it. So
Yeah. So we find out like James has no one showing up to the gym or to this community center, and he's like, what the heck? There was so much interest. Finds out that he got the date wrong on the flyer. So Nyla gets a little chuckle and joy out of that. And, he apologizes and she says, it's not a total waste. I can still train you. I'm loose and ready to go. So I'm fighting somebody. I mean, I don't know. I just liked that line. And, coming from Nyla, like she was like sarcastic there, but she was also like dead serious.
yeah, that she would
Yeah.
go toe to toe with someone on the mat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we cut to see her like, kind of helping him up after she threw, I say that in air quotes, him down on the mat. And she's, kind of just smiling and beaming throughout all of this. And I just love smiling Isla.
She just
Like,
loves being a badass, like rightfully
Yeah.
so though. I mean, good on
But
her.
then like James wants to ask Nyla out for dinner, and the young kid who we also saw in like one of the earlier season episodes, he is a good wingman for this community center guy, and he truly is. But Nyla agrees to go out to dinner for one dinner with the community center guy, and it's one date, right? Like what's the worst that could happen? She kind of says, I just started a relationship, and the
and the kid
like,
was like,
define
what?
relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like, okay, we see you guys. We see you.
I love that the show, like they show the police work, but then they also sprinkle in the personal life. And it's not like we get it for, 5 minutes of each I mean, I guess probably once it's added up, like all their scenes, maybe it is like 5-7 minutes, but like it's not like it's just little previews of it here and there. Like it's actual storylines.
Yeah,
So I
they
like
do
that.
continuity well in terms of like storylines,
And
very
character
well.
development, yeah.
On this show.
So then last but not least, like we had said before, we saw Henry and Abigail. They're back and kind of hinting at that promo for 2 weeks out. So we don't have much notes here because we had kind of talked about it with John with his storyline, but we're meeting John's ex-wife next week, and that should be interesting.
Yes. For any Bones fans out there, it'll his ex-wife name was Sarah, right? I think
I
that's
believe
right.
so.
She will be played by Emily Deschanel from Bones, so it's pretty exciting.
That cliffhanger promo gave me One Chicago vibes, and our group chat, who also watches One Chicago and The Rookie, we've kind of gotten everyone into it. We were blowing up about that because it was just like, really, we're really doing this. We're doing this.
Well, I'm just excited for them to utilize. Okay, I shouldn't say excited. Sorry, guys. That's like a bad choice of words. But like, I'm interested. Why are you? Oh, good. Jennifer's laughing at me completely now. While she composes herself, I'll try to explain myself. I'm like intrigued by them like utilizing a different set because we hadn't seen the hospital set in a while since like the end of season 2, beginning of season 1. I mean, there was that brief scene with Jackson and Sergeant Gray at the end of 305, I believe it was.
But we
don't
didn't
see like
them
a full-fledged episode.
Yeah. And we didn't see them doing like surgery or like medical procedures. Like I think it was just Jackson and Gray talking. Whereas it looks like the preview for 2 weeks from now, we're getting like, like the AED machines and all that. So it will be interesting. And I will be on the edge of my seat because again, trust issues. So
and like in the promo that like I'll just be curious to see if they do show any like outside of the hospital scenes, or if like we're gonna see or like if we're gonna see like how everyone came together for when Wesley was injured, like that kind of scene, they all gathered at the hospital. I'm wondering if we're gonna see something like that, especially since it is John's kid and like everyone knows that how much Henry means to him. So
you know what, I'm still a little bitter that we didn't see like a group hospital scene when Lucy was like in the barrel and stuff. We saw them like finding her.
Can't with you.
I'm sorry, but I mean, I just thought of that. So Kari's like gonna unfollow me and block me everywhere.
Feelings, guys. I have a lot of feelings about both of those episodes. Yeah.
So as we digress a little bit, we didn't do it too much tonight though. So like, be proud of us. Did we have any other notes on this episode?
Not on this episode, at least not for me. Jennifer's smiling at me because I'm gonna be a fangirl for like 5 seconds and tell you guys to go listen to Eric Winter and his wife Rosalind Sanchez's podcast. It's He Said Ella Dijo. I was gonna try to speak in Spanish and say why I like it and all this stuff. Don't think I'm going to today because my Spanish, I haven't done anything with Spanish in like so long. But me encanta, me encanta, me encanta. I love it, I love it, I love it. It is so entertaining. I mean, like, yeah, Eric's hilarious and like really interesting. Rosalind is like so nice and like her voice is so just like great, and it's just entertaining as hell. Like, you guys gotta go if you want to listen to Eric's voice more often, guys, go listen to it. It's great. So that's my 2 cents. I'm done now.
So you can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter too. I'm JStark804.
And my Twitter handle is @Kari Hyman.
The Rookie is on hiatus for 2 weeks, but we won't be. We'll be sharing a poll on our Twitter, and you can kind of decide on what we cover for the next episode.
Yeah. So
So
let us know, guys. We're excited to
yeah,
keep
we'll
this
give you
going.
some options, but I mean, if there's one on the poll that you think we should cover more, like let us know. But
Yes, please.
thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.